When we contemplate the possibility of alien civilizations, our imaginations often leap outward into the boundless depths of space, toward distant exoplanets orbiting unfamiliar stars, searching for signals or scanning the skies for telltale signs of intelligence. Yet there is another dimension just as vast and mysterious, one that stretches not across space, but across the eons of time. Rather than asking only if life exists elsewhere in the universe, we might also wonder, could advanced civilizations have risen and fallen on our own planet long before humans ever walked the Earth? Could the remnants of these indigenous technological species lie buried deep beneath our feet, their stories erased by the slow, relentless churn of geological processes? Science offers us a unique lens through which to ponder these questions, challenging our assumptions about what it means to find or fail to find evidence of ancient intelligence. Life on Earth has persisted for nearly 4 billion years, spending most of that time as little more than single-celled organisms. It wasn't until roughly 540 million years ago, during the Cambrian explosion, that complex animals burst onto the evolutionary stage. This gave rise to an immense window of opportunity, hundreds of millions of years, during which intelligence could, in theory, have evolved not once, but perhaps multiple times. Where then would we search for evidence of such lost civilizations? And what could we hope to find, given the capriciousness of time and the fragile nature of human accomplishment? To start, we have but one example of a technological civilization to guide us: ourselves. Modern humans, anatomically indistinguishable from ourselves, emerged around 100,000 years ago. For the vast majority of that time, we lived as small bands of hunter-gatherers, slowly spreading across continents, adapting to diverse environments, and eking out a living with stone tools and fire. Change was gradual, and for hundreds of thousands of years, our ways of life remained relatively stable, punctuated only occasionally by bursts of innovation or complexity. Everything changed around 10,000 years ago with the advent of agriculture. This revolution transformed our relationship with the land, enabling population growth on an unprecedented scale, and laying the foundations for villages, cities, and eventually sprawling empires. Human societies began to alter the landscape dramatically, clearing forests, irrigating fields, and building monuments that reached toward the heavens. The traces of these efforts, from ancient temples to the earliest cities, linger even now, testaments to the ingenuity and ambition of our ancestors. The pace of change accelerated further some 300 years ago with the onset of the Industrial Revolution. Humans mastered new sources of power, developed complex machinery, and reshaped economies and societies alike. Our numbers exploded, and so did our impact on the planet. Today, our influence is so profound that some scientists propose we have entered a new geological epoch, the Anthropocene, defined by the indelible marks we have left on Earth systems. From this perspective, the story of humanity can be divided into 3 main chapters. For 97% of our history, we were hunter-gatherers. For 2.9%, we were farmers. And for a mere 0.1%, we have been industrialists. And yet, even this dramatic arc is but a blink in the eye of deep time. On geological timescales, the most enduring human artifacts are fleeting. The oldest large-scale surface on Earth, in the Negev Desert, dates back just 1.8 million years. Everything older has been ground down, buried, or transformed by the ceaseless cycles of erosion, tectonics, and renewal. The entire span of human civilization may ultimately be reduced to a thin, unremarkable layer in the rock record. So, what if other intelligent species once flourished here? What would remain of their existence? To answer this, we can reflect on the traces left by our own ancestors. Hunter-gatherer societies, even those of early hominins like Homo erectus, Neanderthals, and Denisovans, have left behind only the faintest echoes, fragments of bones, stone tools, and the occasional piece of art. Given how much time these species spanned and how little we have found, it becomes clear just how easily entire epochs of sentient life could vanish without a trace. Fossilization is a rare and capricious process. For every 100,000 years of Earth's history, only a handful of good fossils might be preserved. Most evidence of ancient hunter-gatherers has been lost to biology, then geology. If such species existed and never advanced technologically, their memory could be erased entirely. Agricultural and early urban societies leave a richer record, thanks to their use of durable materials and the sheer scale of their activities. Ancient civilizations like the Egyptians and the Chinese constructed monuments and cities that have survived for thousands of years and may persist for thousands more. Yet even these marvels are vulnerable to the inexorable forces of erosion and burial. After a few million years, even the greatest pyramids will crumble, and their traces will fade. If an indigenous civilization had reached the level of ancient Rome or China tens or hundreds of millions of years ago, it is likely that all their physical artifacts would have disappeared. Their tools would decay, their buildings would fall, and the marks they left on the land would become indistinguishable from natural processes. Even advanced metals eventually corrode and return to the earth. Perhaps a civilization of cephalopods once built cities in ancient swamps, or insect engineers raised intricate mounds in prehistoric forests. If they never industrialized, their accomplishments might be lost forever, their stories erased by time. But what of industrial civilizations? Our own era is unique in the scale and intensity of its impact. The fossil record of the future will show a sudden and dramatic extinction of wildlife, alongside a proliferation of domesticated animals, cows, pigs, chickens, and rats. Our cities and infrastructure, for all their might, would quickly dissolve into dust if we vanished. Yet some of our byproducts may linger for millions of years. Plastics deposited on the ocean floor, isotopes from nuclear reactors, unusual concentrations of metals, and chemical signatures of synthetic fertilizers. And yet, we find no such markers in the ancient geological record. No unexplained layers of radioactive elements, no sudden surges of industrial byproducts. The mass extinctions and shifts we see appear to be natural, not artificial. If an industrial civilization existed before us, it was either so brief or so sustainable that it left no clear trace. And if it was sustainable, its geological footprint might be almost invisible. Ultimately, our search for indigenous ancient civilizations is limited by the very nature of deep time. The evidence, if it exists, is subtle, fleeting, and easily lost. We must be careful not to let our imaginations fill the gaps where data is lacking, and instead recognize the limits of what we can know. For now, the vastness of time seems as empty of aliens as the vastness of space. Perhaps we are alone, or perhaps the echoes of other civilizations are lost beyond our ability to perceive. What is certain, however, is that our own story is fragile. If we wish to persist, to leave a legacy that endures, we must learn from the lessons of deep time and ensure that our civilization does not vanish unremembered into the strata of the distant future. Did you find our videos helpful? Please like and subscribe to our channel so we can be motivated to answer the questions that people are still wondering about.